you,
And
Dr.
I thank you for my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Brown, and thank to all the witnesses for your participation this morning. Mr. Newland, we reviewed a sampling of HubZone awards. 5 went to large businesses. 40% of the companies weren't even certified into the HubZone program. Can you tell us why is it that so many improper certifications are taking place?
Well, I think it would be the same reason there's improper certifications taking place in all the programs. Contracting officers aren't checking. There's a database that you went to, and you could determine quickly whether there was whether they were HubZone certified or not. That's less than 30-second drill on the internet. Contracting officer has a HubZone set-aside procurement, 5 HubZone bidders ready to make an award. Doesn't bother to check.
In Mr. Newland, Mr. Goyle, in his written testimony, testified that SBA doesn't take the allegations seriously that the program is being abused. What would you propose that we need to do to ensure that these allegations are properly addressed?
Well, I'm not going to agree that the program is being abused. However, one incidence of improper certification is one too many. But it's a pretty clear-cut program. You're either in compliance or not. It's self-policed by your competitors.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very clear avenue for protesting the HubZone size status of any winner of a HubZone procurement, just like there is for a small business size protest of a small business procurement. And we encourage our members to protest if they have any reason at all to believe the winner of a HubZone procurement is not a certified in compliance HubZone firm. I have firsthand experience that the SBA takes those protests seriously and renders detailed, meticulous decisions in each and every case.
So you don't agree with the deputy administrator who previously stated that the program is flawed?
I'd have to hear what flaw she's talking about.
Well, it was a response to my answer.
Well,
Yeah.
again, maybe I'd have to meet with her or perhaps you and your staff and hear what flaws you have. I don't believe any program in the federal government is perfect. HubZone would be in that category. It's not perfect, and there is always room for improvement.
So you disagree with the Inspector General report?
Which aspect of the report?
Where he found that there are serious flaws in the program.
I would disagree with that.
Mr. Newland, the government has a program, Section 8, that allows residents of low-income areas to receive vouchers for housing assistance. Clearly, no one will support low-income housing vouchers to be used to rent million-dollar homes. Why should we have a program that allows people who own million-dollar homes to get contracts intended for low-income communities?
Because the contracts are intended to create jobs where we need them the most. Just a similar fashion to you were asking questions earlier, Madam Chairwoman, regarding increasing the net worth of the 8A program.
So is Winter Park in Florida one of those areas?
Excuse me?
Winter Park, Florida.
I'd have to check the SBA map.
I'm sorry?
I'd have to check the SBA map to
Well,
determine if
it
Winter
just
Park.
not that
I've never
this-
been to Winter Park, so I don't know.
I've been there.
Okay.
I know the area. I know that is a part of Florida where you find multi-million-dollar houses. They don't qualify. That area doesn't qualify for HubZone.
Are you suggesting it shouldn't
about
qualify, but it is now qualified? I'm trying to understand the question.
Companies, HubZone companies are in that area.
Well, the definition of a hub zone is where unemployment is high and where wages are low. I suspect there's no county in the country, or very few counties in the country, As you get into rural America, as you may know, hub zones are determined based on county basis in rural America. But as you go to rural America, I suspect just about every county has one or more multi-million-dollar home, while they have a lot of poverty in the county as well.
Winter Park is not a rural area.
Pardon?
Winter Park is not a rural area.
Okay.
And I assure you, Winter Park doesn't have the unemployment rate that will qualify the area for hub zone companies to be established.
Well, if Winter Park is not rural, it'd be urban. And in urban, the determination is by census data regarding average household income. So they must have average household income under the statewide average for Florida.
I want for SBA, and they are here today to submit to this committee the rationale for Winter Park to have hub zone companies.
I would just state that I'm not firsthand involved, but I've heard that it's HUD that determines whether some area is or is not a hub zone, and SBA just implements the HUD determination.
Matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Ms. Dorman, in 2001, the regulations to implement the Women's Procurement Program were in an OMB review with an extension granted by the SBA. Today, the regulations are in the exact same place. Given this, what do you believe about the SBA's commitment to implement the program?
It is my estimation that they have no commitment, especially when talking to Administrator Barreto a few years back, and he actually stated to me, and this is a quote, that this administration has no intention of implementing this program. It is now 7 years later, and it has still not been implemented, and we're hearing echoes in the hallways that perhaps that if it gets implemented, it would be implemented only by the narrowest way of assessing women-owned firms, which would be to a detriment to our members and to the American women business across the United States.
Mr. Sharmin?
Yes, ma'am.
What are some of the unique challenges faced by service-disabled veterans in accessing government contracts that other small businesses don't share?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Madam Chairwoman, for allowing the American Legion to testify. Service-disabled veterans can be anywhere from 0% to 100%. They could have PTSD, traumatic brain injury, amputations, blindness. Some of these factors are hindering them from going to these contracting officers. A lot of these small business owners are individual owners. They are IT experts or computer experts, so they're sitting at home and it's hard for them to travel. Another problem is that the contracting officers are not knowledgeable of all the service-disabled veteran-owned business laws, especially Public Law 10650, Executive Order 13360, and the Comptroller General Decision Bravo-299291. And we believe that if these contracting officers knew the laws and then implemented the laws, service-disabled veteran businesses would be gaining the 3% goal.
So in your testimony, you state that each federal agency should incorporate Executive Order 13360 into the regulations and standard operating procedures. Why is so important that to the American Legion that each agency incorporate this executive order?
Well, veterans and along with other people in my panel have access to the entire federal government and their procurement authority. And the Department of Veteran Affairs, a lot of these agencies feel that the Department of Veteran Affairs should have the onus and should have the priority of helping veterans. Well, that's not just the case, especially in procurement and contracting. And Executive Order 13360, it's an executive order by the President of the United States to the secretaries of the cabinet level positions. And if they don't implement the orders, then someone has to become accountable for it.